from the inception of this process, both at the local and state level, with the production team and promotion side. They've been very positive, productive discussions. The production team has been outstanding to work with, and never at any point was there any indication that there wasn't the capacity to meet the necessary requirements for the ultimate issuance of a mass gathering permit. So we were, as you can imagine, very disappointed with the notification today, but at the end of the day, we have to respect the decision made by their team.
And what's the process from here on with notifying all the artists and everybody else involved in this process?
That I really can't address. We're not involved in that part of it. And please understand that both from the county and the state side of this, we were the recipients of information that was certainly requested on our part, and from that a determination would be made ultimately whether an event of this magnitude could be held safely and have with sufficient infrastructure to support whatever the number of attendees would be for the mass gathering.
Last month at the public meeting here at Watkins Glen, everything seemed to be full steam ahead, but the question is why, with Watkins Glen doing races all the time, why the permits not get filed earlier, you know?
Well,
it seemed like it was last minute.
Because of the potential, the iconic nature of this event, the legislature felt more comfortable dealing with this separately, and where on an annual basis the mass gathering permit for all the events at Watkins Glen International is handled in one application. This deviated, had the potential to deviate from past events or known entities, so the legislature felt more comfortable in dealing with this as a separate permit application.
I know this is somewhat recent, news, of course, that you're being notified from the production team, but have you talked with any business officials or anyone from Scopes about just the economic impact and the reservations and hotels and things of that nature?
We haven't had detailed discussions. I have been in contact with the Chamber of Commerce, and they're, as we speak, as a matter of fact, putting together a media strategy to certainly salvage some of the fallout, if you will, from this announcement. As you're all aware, we looked forward to this anxiously and with a great deal of excitement in that this event gave Watkins Glen and the Finger Lakes an opportunity to put forth its best foot internationally, so to speak. The Finger Lakes area of New York State is one of the nicest areas in the world. This was an opportunity for us to showcase our great natural environment and what a great place this is to live and work. So we're certainly, that remains, in spite of the cancellation. So the opportunity to take this recognition, if you will, and tell people that we're still open for business and we still welcome you to come and experience all that Watkins Glen and the Finger Lakes have to offer.
Regarding Dentsu's press release earlier, they said that they don't believe the production of a festival can be executed as an event worthy of the Woodstock brand while ensuring the health and safety of artists, partners, and attendees. Is there anything else that you would want to say in regards to this?
I think that's pretty much summarizes everything. Our issue or our position from the beginning was we welcomed this event, assuming that it could meet all of the requirements to ensure just that all attendees would have a safe environment with an adequate infrastructure to support what in effect becomes a city, for almost a week. So that being said and that being accomplished, we welcome them with open arms.
As a county, how do you handle obviously the scale of the concert and then having to kind of bring it back and realize that it's not happening?
Well, we certainly, we'll lick our wounds and we'll move on. What we do have going for us, and certainly on the positive side, is that this is a destination area. We welcome more than 3 million visitors every year. So while this would have been a great enhancement to what we already do, the show goes on, so to speak, and we welcome the rest of the world to come and visit us. Many of the improvements that you see as you drove in here today that are underway will be completed in a couple of months, and Watkins Glen will have a brand new face to put forward to the world, and we welcome the world to come visit us.
I have one more question. If Woodstock 50 were to happen, what would be the loss of sales tax revenue?
It's hard to give an exact calculation, but I can say that the economic impact of this is measured in the millions, not only to Schuyler County, but to the region. This had a large footprint, if you will, and just as NASCAR does as well. So there's a significant economic impact that will be felt as a result of this event being canceled.
And have you received any backlash from the investors so far?
No, we have not.
Obviously, with Fish being canceled last year and now Woodstock being canceled this year, do you think it will deter any future promoters to come and kind of have their concert here every month?
We certainly hope not. And what we have going in our favor is that Watkins Glen International is a premier venue that has both the infrastructure and the expertise to host large gatherings. We've had some bad luck, no question about that. Horrendous weather events certainly contributed to the cancellation of last year's music event. I really can't speak to what the rationale was for this year's, but nevertheless, we stand ready to host future events, and we welcome them to this community.
It appeared recently that there was confidence from the county, despite some hearsay of lack of organization from the actual production team of Michael Lang. Was this announcement that it was going to be canceled a shock? Would you classify this as a shock to you?
I think that's a fair assessment. It was not what I anticipated happening on my Monday morning, and certainly not the way anyone wants to start out the week. This came as a complete surprise, and it's a tremendous disappointment, certainly to my office.
If down the road, if there's any future potential for this to somehow get revived and have a second chance, is the county willing to have future discussions about still having this come here?
Well, certainly the county's position has not changed, and if all the requirements can be met, we welcome this or any other event to come into our community. Being practical, though, at this late date, it'd be unlikely that a change in game plans would be able to accomplish all of the necessary requirements to issue both state and local permits.
You said it was a shock. Was there a lack of communication in this planning process?
No, I would say the planning process up until now has been outstanding. The production team has been first class to work with. We've worked with Superfly very closely for months now, and there have been daily, if not weekly, conference calls, from all of involving the affected stakeholders at the local and state level. I will also say that New York State has put forth a tremendous amount of effort and deployed a tremendous amount of resources to assist in the planning process for this. We have had tremendous support from our state partners and certainly all of our local agencies, and the communication has been very strong, I would say.
Was there anything that jumped out to you in the process? Obviously, them putting in the mass gathering permit and everything like that. Was there anything along the way that kind of jumped out to you or no surprise?
There's nothing that I could put my finger on and say this should have been done differently. I think that we communicated at the onset what would be necessary to achieve the end goal of hosting a concert or a festival. They demonstrated at the onset and throughout the process that they had the capacity to meet the requirements, and there was no reason for us to think otherwise. All of the submissions to date have been either close to complete or complete into what would ultimately be needed for a mass gathering permit. So there was a very good effort put forth from the production side to meet the needs and ensure a safe and enjoyable event.
Can you name some of the safety concerns there may have been regarding this permit?
Well, there aren't any safety concerns that are unique to this permit. They would be the same for anyone, and they would involve infrastructure such as water and wastewater, traffic, security, ingress and egress, emergency evacuation routes. Basically everything that you can imagine would go into equated with constructing and hosting a small city for 3 to 5 days. So anything that you would need to ensure the needs of the public are met as well as the safety of the public insured is all taken into account in the permitting process. But there was nothing unique about this permit as opposed to any other mass gathering permit that Watkins Glen International has successfully applied for each and every year.
contact with any of the legislators or hearings?
I've been in contact by email. I've had a couple of phone calls, but there's not been a lot of discussion so far. I think this took everybody by surprise. Some may not even have gotten the notification yet either. So
right now, you guys are just waiting to hear more from Michael Lang about finding another backer to replace.
well, at this point, unless we hear otherwise, our assumption is that the event is canceled.
Okay.
Moving forward, what do you say to the, hotel owners and the inn owners and everything like that who are kind of preparing for roughly around 100,000 people?
Well, we certainly, share in their disappointment. What we do take some comfort in is that because of this area being a destination, as vacancies occur as a result of this, there's likely lines of people waiting to take their place. So this is a peak time of year in August to be here. Typically, occupancy rates in all of our lodging establishments are at or near capacity. So there will be, some comfort to be taken in that, I guess.
Have you had any contact with Michael Prinoff or anybody else from WGI?
I have not. We have not had any discussions as of yet. So. Very good.
Anything else like that?
No, I think you've pretty much covered everything. And as I said, this wasn't my show. This is your show. So I'm happy to answer questions. So.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming. Nice to see everybody. So.